You are listening to Beyond the Verse, a StarCitizen podcast. A show dedicated to Cloud Imperium games, StarCitizen, and Squadron 42. Whether you fight, explore, unite, and or trade, we bring you news, updates, interviews, reviews, and analysis. So sit back, relax, grab yourself a pour of Radagast, and join us as we go Beyond the Verse.
Launch sequence activated.
Hello friends and welcome to Beyond the Verse, StarCitizen podcast. I'm your host Sulyce, and this is episode 117, where we break down inside StarCitizen's Alpha 4.3 patch report. We're going to react to the roadmap update and get into Spotify poll results and comments, but we're also going to go full throttle into the new Kruger L21 Wolf, the good, the bad, the ugly, how we think about it, from the behind the ships reveal to the Q&A and the pre-order, as well as our community giveaway. We will be giving away a free version of the Kruger L21 Wolf. So stay tuned for how to enter. You have a week to enter and get it. So this is going to be a fun episode. We're reacting to a few videos. We're obviously reacting to the ship. We are also reacting to the patch report inside StarCitizen. There's a lot. There's a lot to go through. A very good message from Jared about kind of what we've been experiencing through 4.2.1. Which I think we can all appreciate, but we'll get into our thoughts, feelings, and emotional outbursts here in the next couple of minutes. So I hope this finds everybody well. How was your week? How's work? How's family? How's friends? I hope you're listening to this in a good place. I hope this finds you well. As I always say and repeatedly say on this show, but I do care. It's the one bad thing about a podcast. It's like, I want to have a narrative with y'all. Like, I want to have a conversation and a dialogue. But that's not how this works. It's physically impossible, which is why the comment section and the poll section is so important. And I think I do a pretty damn good job responding to most comments, whether it's on YouTube or whether it is on Spotify. Okay, let's get into some of this, guys. Let's get into the community spotlight.
Incoming message.
Why, thank you. The poll section for episode 116. So that was the Ship Showdown leaderboard, the CitizenCon Direct contests, and the PU monthly report to jog your memory. But I asked the question, which CitizenCon Direct event are you most excited about? And out of 11 votes, 45.5% of you think the giveaways, whether it is the virtual package that you would get in previous Citizen Cons, I think that's always like a winner, right? Because you don't physically have to make travel in order to get a bundle. So a lot of people were really happy about that and excited about that. More than likely, we're going to get something like that again this year. We don't have intel or anything that says that, but I can't imagine the last Citizen Con before Squadron 42, and there wouldn't be, a digital bundle. So I think we need to stay tuned for that. Again, no intel, but pretty sure. And then while we're there, so if you're coming to the Austin CitizenCon Direct, CIG will also be there as well. Myself, the Astro Historian, a few more names will be giving away prizes throughout the day as well. So whether it's ships or gear, stay tuned for that as well. And then 36.4% of you like the exclusive reveals. I think we all like exclusive reveals. Excuse me. I think 2 Citizen Cons ago when we were in Los Angeles, the reveals were like, I think that was when the Ironclad was revealed, but it was also the reveal of the Drake cutters. Or at least the Cutter Rambler and the Cutter Scout. I don't know if it was the base cutter, but it was right around that time when they released everyone's favorite little RV in the verse. And then a tie of 9.1% between the video contest that's also live and physically being there for the watch parties. Before I move away from the polls, I just want to give an update. I had a really good this past week. Myself and the Texas Bar Citizens, a few of them, got together to visit Pinballs. which is where we are hosting the StarCitizen Con, the Citizen Con for StarCitizen, in Austin, Texas. So it's pinballs. It's up on Highway 183, kind of in north central-ish Austin. And the four of us went and toured. We toured the site. We saw where we were going to be. We actually were able to negotiate a third room. So we're going to have a third room dedicated to the 2 hour, the actual direct, and then an hour after for reactions. Then that room kind of goes away. And then we have the other 2 rooms the rest of the day. So we'll have a room kind of behind the bar and actually have a direct access to the bar. So that's really nice. And then, like I said, a third room for a LAN party. We'll have, I don't know, roughly 30 computers to set up and have arena commander battles and whatnot. So really excited about that. Was part of that decision-making process. We have a lot to look forward to. And again, a lot of announcements to keep you updated on this podcast and on these socials. So visit our social media. That is, you can just go to beyondtheversehq.com. That'll be the best place for you to go for all things. But if you want to follow us on social media, it is the BTV_cast. Give me 1 second as I clear my throat. It's like I always do this routine. If you're like a professional speaker or you do podcasts, there's like routines that you can do to get your voice and everything ready. I do all that. Sounds great. But the moment I start, Murphy's Law kicks in. And this happens. So bear with me. It's always the first couple of minutes. All right. Interesting. It's saying I'll lose my changes if I leave this page. Whatever. I'm going to anyways. Sharing my screen for those on video. There's 11 published comments, but some of those are my responses to those comments. So we'll get through these pretty quick. But first, let's go to Cody Laneship. Quote, I love StarCitizen for its immersion. From the moment I log in, I slow my walk to take in every detail of stations and spaceports. My friends who brought me into the game sometimes quit over bugs or issues, but I enjoy every second, the flaws and all. For me, it's about role-playing a spaceman in Stanton and in Pyro, savoring the little things. Your train station and I'll be happy you win analogy perfectly captures why I love living in this universe now. I wholeheartedly agree with this comment. Go listen to last week's episode. I go on a little bit of a soapbox about how we should be viewing just moments in life in general. And that's what he's referencing about the train station and always expecting to be happy at the next stage of your life, realizing that you're now on your deathbed and you never really truly appreciated life. I know that's super deep for a video game, but I feel like that's what we need to do as a StarCitizen community is kind of just take that tactical pause. Right? Take that breath, take that moment to be like, okay, first off, it's just a video game, right? Second, there's hundreds of thousands of other video games to play if you need to like take a break. But then third, what is available in StarCitizen where it's broken at times, there's enough to do to just escape reality. And I don't know about y'all, but sometimes I just need that escapism. And StarCitizen, I'm sorry, is still the best game in my opinion for escapism. Wholeheartedly agree with you, my friend. Okay, going on to Steelwicker Beast, quote, I like your discussion about the I'll be happy win and how the year has played out for StarCitizen. I may be frustrated with the state of the game currently, but looking back over the past 6, 12, 18 months, and even longer, it has evolved so much and is better now than it was at those intervals. I made it to tier 5 everywhere except R-Corp. Nice. Rat for Life and Ship Showdown. And I can't wait to be in Austin for CitizenCon Direct. I wish I had more characters because I have more to say. Well, you filled up the box there. I appreciate everything you said. Yeah. Tier 5 everywhere except R-Corp. Solid work, my dude. And you have time. Like if you wanted to work towards all 4 corporations, it is being extended through 4.3. So you have time if you wanted to. Yeah, I again, to reiterate, the game, like we have taken this year for granted. I'll say the community, not maybe listeners or not you specifically, or not even me, but the community has taken this year for granted. Like we have several expansions, patches. We'll call them patches, not expansions. We've had several patches that have introduced new things for us to do, and it's been, for the most part, very successful, except for 4.2.1. And I think we've all acknowledged that, and that's fine. But it's been a good year of changing things up. I have been very appreciative for this year, especially if you've been in the project longer than like 2 or 3 years. Like, this just feels different. We feel like we are closer, or I feel like we are closer to a finalized product or a minimum viable product now than we've ever been. I think that's okay. And you're not going to hear that on social media much, because it's just not the clickbait emotional response that people are looking for. So can't wait to see you in CitizenCon Direct, my friend. Soundwave Ghost writes, to your points, I have reasons I named Polaris none as I did. Okay, Roger. So this was a course correction. What I was told and kind of what we had in the community was not reality. So here's a course correction from Soundwave Ghost. To your points, I have reasons I named Polaris none as I did. One, it's a loaner for the Perseus, so I honestly don't have a Polaris. 2, my youngest was a Nunya business kick, or was on a Nunya business kick, and said, what's that? So I said Polaris none. And 3, I got it with none of the hassle everyone else did at the time. Otherwise, great episode. I was happy I sparked a bit of deep thought. My happy win is ship-based ship repair. My other is everything feeds something else. Yeah. So I love it. I love having, so we actually in our community in Sole Provision, we have like an RP section that sometimes gets invested in and sometimes it gets forgotten about, which is fine. That's RP. If you've ever been part of a gaming community, it's like a hit or miss. But I love reading those entries when somebody kind of lets themselves go and kind of writes that story and how they view themselves in the verse. One, it's authentic as hell. Like, I love that. It tells me a lot about who you are and how you kind of want to depict yourself when you escape into this universe. But 2, it's entertaining. I love it. Like, I love, this might come across as a little selfish, but I love that I've created something that people are invested in, not monetarily, but like their passions. And I love the creativity. I love the artwork. I love when people from Sole Provision, create product that helps everybody else, right? And on their own accord, they slap our logo either on the bottom or however they do. And it makes me very proud of our community. But I love the stories of naming ships that don't even have names, right? Like, there's some ships like the 890 Jump and the Mercury Star Runner that you can name and it brands it on the side. But like, every ship can have a name, and there's a place for that in Sole Provision. And I love these origin stories. So thanks for sharing, Soundwave's Ghost. Moving on to Noah. Noah writes, genuinely, thank you for putting out this show. Listening is truly a bright spot in my week. And after every episode, I'm left forward to the next. Your optimistic view on the game sort of reflects what brought me to the game. That feeling of awe and hope and incredulity that are at the remarkable parts of this game. I urge you to continue with this. I especially enjoyed the recent episode reacting to 421, though all episodes are great. Again, thank you and have a great day. I appreciate your kind words. I continue to say that I don't need affirmation or validation. I would do this for one person. So Noah, if you're my one listener, I would still produce this. And I mean that out of all sincerity. So thank you for taking time to say that. I do appreciate, it's probably took you 5 to 10 minutes, and I appreciate that. That means a lot to me. Thank you. Corrupted Data writes, hiding in a cardboard box in Metal Gear Solid, that's comedy. Yes, the game that I've been playing on the side is Metal Gear Solid 5. I only played half of it when I was in, was it high school when that game came out? Was I getting into college? I don't even know at this point. Anyways, I played it when I was younger. And yeah, I only played half of it. I wanted to pick it back up. I wanted to finish it. And so I've been getting into it when the game has StarCitizened me. And I'm like perfectly fine with that. I'm fine with taking a break, and what a great game to take a break in. And so the funny thing is, like, I've been saying this, I'm prior military, so people are kind of, giving me a hard time about the Metal Gear Solid theme and being like Snake. But yes, I don't have a bandana on. I apologize. You're going to hear another comment here in a couple of seconds about me needing to have a Snake bandana. I also need the eye patch, and I also need the debris sticking out of my forehead, to be very fair. So, Bravo One writes, looking forward to the new update to jump back into the verse, gave up on the event and went to playing some Battlefield with some of the other Soul Provision members, even decided that I'm doing another Assassin's Creed Black Flag playthrough for old time's sake. It's re-inspired my interest in some commodity trading for once I get back into the verse, hoping soon I can see my gunboat in the game, the Perseus. Yep, it was supposed to come out last night. We'll get into some of that here in a couple of seconds, but yeah, so 4.3 was supposed to drop Thursday night. By the time of recording this podcast, we were hoping, or I was hoping to address this comment by saying, hey, it's out. I'll see you in the verse later today. But there were enough severe issues, according to the announcement, with the release candidate that they decided to push it to Friday, today. So we'll see. We'll see if we get it today, if not over the weekend, if not the first thing of next week. But now we're kind of in this waiting game where we think we have fixed it. Our CIG feels like they have fixed it, but we just don't know yet. So stand by, Bravo, and get back in the game. Husky writes, every Wednesday morning, still on the drive. I look forward to the drive now, though, thanks to this banging podcast, I've now created my own little org in Australia and really loving the game. At the moment, Precision Enterprises is pushed for our own Polaris, but with just a few members, it's taking a while. A big thank you from Australia, and keep up the good work you do. Appreciate that, Husky. So first off, good luck to you. Creating an org and sticking with it and seeing it grow is both a large challenge, but it's also very rewarding. So good luck to you. Good luck to Precision Enterprises. Also, good luck to getting the Polaris. Not only getting the materials for the Polaris, but it actually working for you. So just a heads up. Just a reminder that we did it in Soul Provision. We got all the materials. And when we turned it in, Wicklow ate all of our materials and didn't give us the ship. So good luck to you. I would love you to leave a comment whenever y'all do get all the items and whether you were successful or not. Please share with us. I genuinely mean that. Awesome. And I love the fact that I've got listeners outside the United States. That's really, really awesome. Let us know how we can help. Genuinely. So Soul Provision, like, we love giving back. And so we had others help us with our Polaris drive. So if y'all need help, let us know. Reach out and we'll get you hooked up. And last comment from Jason, quote, I think the sub-store packs work if you want to gift items to friends. Before being a subscriber myself, I had purchased a few items through a buddy. This is in reference to, it might have been this last episode when the subscriber flare came out. I thought it was a couple episodes ago, but we were talking about how, like, why would you buy a pack? If you're a subscriber, you already have, like, if you're an Imperator subscriber, you get the Centurion item and you get the Imperator item, but then they sell you the pack for both. And my question was, why would you do that? And apparently, I've never tested this. I haven't validated it, but I trust those who have said this. Apparently, you can just buy the pack and gift it to people who aren't subscribers. And so I haven't tried it. I should try it, though. Maybe there's something there. All right, very cool. Appreciate the comments. As always, you can leave a comment in Spotify. If you give us a comment in YouTube, I will always respond to it. Maybe not on the show, but I will respond to it in my free time. So feel free. I've always wanted this podcast to be engaging with the community. I wanted this to be a community-driven podcast. So engage, and I will find the best way I can to engage back with you. So there you go. This week in StarCitizen, we've actually had a lot to get through this week. It's been a good one. It's been a good week. Now, 421, a little bit on the back end, from my personal experience, I was a tryhard for 2 weeks now, trying to get the introduction mission to Hurston Dynamics. So the race for Stan, Hurston Dynamics, I was able to get tier 5 Crusader, and I told everybody I'm done. Like, I'm done. I don't want to do this anymore. But I did, like, there was one morning where I was like, man, I'll give this one more shot. I'll give it one more shot. And sure enough, the very first one that I did failed. But I was already super close to the next mission. So I think I took a large cargo shipment, which you should never do anymore. But I took that, went to the freight elevators, and they were broken. And then I don't know what went through my mind. I decided to check my contracts manager like one last time. And they had a large cargo recovery, like the FPS one. That's like 150,000 UAC. And when I clicked on it, it was literally like, I don't know, 500 kilometers away from me. It was super close. So I was like, why not? No, that was, hold on. Back up. I'm getting my story mixed up. I took the introductory mission and it did work the first time because you can only have one option. It's only the shipment, right? You get the one SU box there it is. Okay. Brain fart in the middle of my podcast. I tried it first thing in the morning. And I did make it. It was successful, obviously. And when I turned it in, I was like, oh, awesome. I got motivated. I got like super, like, this is going to happen. I'm going to go out for Hurston Dynamics. And then exactly that. The first one I took failed and was like, this is stupid. I got the introductory mission done and I don't want to go through the heartache anymore. And then my second attempt for the large cargo recovery mission happened. Good Lord. I just had like a brain aneurysm live on podcast. So I'm in it now. I am probably one mission away from getting tier 3 in Hurston Dynamics. I'm going to chase this guy down. I'm going to get tier 5. And then I'm going to wrap this one up. Like, I don't think I want to do this 2 more times. So props for everybody who did do it. So that's kind of on the back end. I was actually shocked on Monday when they had the behind the ships. So we already knew that the Kruger was coming. It was in the load screen to the PTU. So there was no hiding this. I don't know if it was intentional or not. So it wasn't a surprise that there was a ship coming out. For me, it was a surprise that the behind the ships released on Monday because there was no kind of preparation for it. So as we get into this week in StarCitizen, we did have the Monday behind the ships. Tuesday was the end or the closeout of the ship showdown. We had the roadmap update on Wednesday, which has some bangers in there, some good conversation topics we'll get into. Thursday was the latest episode of Inside StarCitizen, which again is like half Jared explaining 421's issues, and then the second half was in preparation for Alpha 430. Just a little bit of a teaser for later in this podcast. They don't go deep into the Onyx facilities because it's their intention for us to explore and investigate and discover all of that on our own. I really wish they would have at least done something deeper, like a walk, not even a walkthrough, but like a cinematic teaser that got us salivating for the Onyx facilities. Like, it is a very cinematic experience. The few times I was able to get into the PTU and actually go through it. So I have my own hype for it. And you've seen the pictures and the videos on social media from content creators about it, but there's something different when it's you, whether you're by yourself or with friends, going through the Onyx facility for the first time. And I feel like that was kind of a missed opportunity. We're going to get in and play it anyways, but I think there was a chance to generate like, okay, 421 is behind us. Here's what we get to look forward to. And that was kind of in my opinion, that was kind of a miss. And then later today on Friday, again, we will be getting the patch release, hopefully. Later today, I will see y'all in 430, which is called Dark Territory. But that's this week. So a lot to get through. Some low-hanging fruit first off. And it's the RSI launcher. Again, this is kind of, you don't have to do anything anymore. So this is more of just like a heads up. But 2.7.1 launcher released, which is fixing a JavaScript error. The LCH 2070, I have personally never seen that error, so I can't really speak to it. It's never really impacted me, but it does address a few of those nuances of signing in right? So Era 2000, 5008, 5010, LCH 1030, LCH 2070. So if you've seen any of those in the recent days or weeks, this patch release or this RSI launcher release addresses that. So again, I go through all the news. So let's go ahead and call that one done. This sucks. This is the 4.3.0, the 4.3 PTU RC1. That's the release candidate patch notes. I really wanted to take this time to be like, hey, 4.3 is live. Here's the release of 4.3's patch notes. But I mean, this is the latest, right? And I've committed to you as a listener and viewer that I will always give you the latest and greatest. So here you go. So yes, if you were to log in the game right now at 5:33 a.m. on Friday, you would only have access to 4.2.1 in the live PU or 4.3.0 in the PTU. So right now, stability and bug fixes, Onyx facilities, mission distribution updates, hangar spawning, which they did confirm in the video that's happening. So hangar spawning is officially back. Dynamic snow, updated ladder improvements, light fighter tuning changes, the Volt laser sniper Zenith, additional Wicklow special ships, and additional player hairstyles. So, man, yeah, what a punch in the gut for a podcaster. Because I really wanted to get into that today. But really, I can sum this up and just say no changes. So I hope, again, this finds you all in 7 days when we're in episode 118. We're talking about reactions to 4.3. All right. Roadmap roundup. So the 4.3.0 announces or commits to the Kruger L21 Wolf. No news there. Here is 4.3.1. I thought this was super interesting. So NPC dropships. It's introducing dropships in Pyro, defending outposts and deploying reinforcements when the local population is attacked. It's marked as tentative. It's not new. So we've had dropships before. We have. Like if you go back in time, I don't know. I think it was before. I think it was before 3.18, but I don't really like know off the top of my head. But we had like you'd go to an investigation mission or you would go to a bunker site, and there would be a reinforcement cutter, like a Cutlass or a Corsair. Like I've seen a Corsair a few times, but there's been these large ships that come in and reinforce and support. So I think it's introducing drop ships specifically in Pyro. Right, it says Pyro, but I think that's the new thing here. I think heavy utility armor, adding a new heavy utility armor. There's a medium utility armor, Ambrose. Don't hate me. I've never claimed to know how to pronounce everything, but I like those. So I think with the Strata armor, so the Strata armor is medium. This is what you get for doing the Race for Stanton individual rewards. I think it's tier 2 is whenever you get the Strata armor. It's a medium, but it holds more inventory than most heavies. Like your backpack is 150,000 SCUs, micro SCUs to be specific, but it's built to like carry a bunch of more stuff. Now, is it more squishy? Should you be taking it into combat? Absolutely not. But I like the idea of having mission-specific armor. This goes back to many discussions I've had in 116 other episodes of the podcast, where having like medical gear, a light infantry gear that are tailored and optimized for that game loop, I think this kind of starts putting us more in that direction. So having utility armor that is made for non-combat scenarios, I love that. I do. I think that is the right answer. Anytime to like customize your drip, anytime to make your fashion or your game loop your lifestyle, I think that's the move in the right direction. We have AI FPS turrets, adding anti-personnel turrets for players to avoid or destroy, providing additional PvE challenges. I'll tell you, man, the AI The FPS turrets, that's interesting because usually the turrets are for ships. But the new, I'm going to call them new, but the turrets that are at the Race for Stanton bunkers, they're incredibly good, or they're significantly better than what they have been. I've usually been able to take like a light or medium fighter and been able to like pop my head up, from like a hillside, attack a little bit, come back down. I've usually been able to take a faster ship and just kind of outmaneuver the turret, like just literally holding down A or D as I strafe around shooting it. I can't do that anymore with these bunkers. So I love it. I love the challenge. I love what that like forces you to have ground vehicles, right? Where you park 1,000 clicks away and you make movement the rest of the way in a ground vehicle. I think that's it's necessary. Does it add more time to a mission? Yes. But I do like the idea of making ground vehicles worthwhile. But the AI FPS turrets, I think this is specifically for in person, right? FPS. Mission pickup on location, enabling new missions to be discovered and added to journals when you approach or enter a designated area. Love it. And like always, we get new hairstyles, even more. I actually found one in 4.3 that I will be using moving forward. So before my current haircut, which I now wear a hat, no one knows what my hair looks like essentially. But before this, I actually had long hair. I had hair like down to my shoulders. I would kind of pull it back and style it if I needed to. But like I had that walk of life for a couple of years. And then here recently, a couple months ago, I went back to the whole like 3-fingered white wall that kind of bleeds up into the top. And so I've done that to my character, but I kind of want to go back to something more, not me physically, but like my character. I kind of want to go back to that like luxurious flowing hair. So I did. I found an option that I'll be moving forward with in 4.3. So for what that's worth, don't take like these announcements for granted. So they're adding hairstyles. Actually take the time to go into the character customizer and see if there's a new style you like, right? We also have a new Volt weapon, a light machine gun called the Fresnel, right? Introducing Volt's heavy hitter, a machine gun that ramps up the punishment as it heats up, trading rate of fire for raw stopping power. As it nears peak overheat, it unleashes searing energy blasts capable of tearing through hostile forces in terrifying efficiency. Featuring a hefty reload time, but with a high capacity magazine. What are y'all's thoughts on the Volt weapons? What are your thoughts on them? I think they're like a hit. I think they look amazing. I think they aesthetically look really good. And I've only really used, I think, the submachine gun and the rifle that you get from the individual missions from the Race for Stanton, or the Race for Stanton individual rewards. I've used those lately, and I think they're fine. But I don't know. I still fall back on the P4. I don't know, maybe because the ammo is more available. Like you can go to a bunker and get stacks and stacks of P4 ammo. So maybe that's it, but I don't know. I always go back to just the basic P4 rifle. I haven't been sold yet. Okay. As always, I'm going to show you that there is also a more succinct roadmap update here in Spectrum. So feel free. Actually, this is what I screenshot and put on social medias. It's just, for me, it's more aesthetically or cosmetically straightforward. So there's that. Now let's get into the Kruger Wolf, guys. Okay. I love this ship. So first off, I usually will buy ships like the bigger and then down. So like if I'm going to invest real money, like an actual US dollar, if I'm going to invest real life money, I want to get it. I want to get ships that will take me a while to get in game. So again, I'm thinking like the Javelin for Soul Provision, the Idris for Soul Provision, the Kraken for Soul Provision. Like instead of spending years or several months to get some of these I'm going to call them basic capital ships for an org like ours, I'm going to buy it. I'm going to buy it and have it available for sole provision out the gate when 1.0 drops. And so we'll have this fleet, we'll have this capability, and I'm kind of working my way down. So, the Orion for capital ship mining. I've got the Reclaimer. Obviously, a lot of people have the Reclaimer, but again, the thought process for me is capital ship or org ship, and then working my way down. So when I see a single pilot light fighter, this is usually not my thing. I would see this and be like, well, it gives me something to try to earn in game. It gives me a purpose to play, right? But when it's only $90, I mean, I realize as I'm saying this how privileged and I'm not. It's not privileged. I've worked my ass off and I've earned where I'm at. So fuck that. Excuse my language. But I realize that I'm in a place that that many others are not. I recognize that. But I see the ship. I see it for 90. I went and bought it. Right. So I have lifetime insurance. I have the concierge paint for it, which looks freaking sexy. But this is a really good looking ship. The community is having a little bit of, some fun with it looking like a Star Wars Naboo fighter. Even Jared mentions that in the video. I think it looks good. I don't know shit about optimizing, guys. I'm not here for the meta. I'm not here to compare it to 20 other different light fighters and say, well, I'm not going to buy it because it's not as good as the Gladius in these one or two ways. It's going to change anyways. Every single thing about this game has the potential of changing. So I would hate to think that I missed out on an opportunity for lifetime insurance and concierge paints, because at the moment, when nothing is truly balanced yet, this did not stack up against its competition. So I look at every single ship in its solo state for what it is. I don't compare other ships. I do that with mining and salvaging too, though. I don't compare the Vulture with any other ship. It's I like the Vulture because it is fun as hell to fly as a solo pilot. And there's a lot to do with it. And I like the idea of getting out of the freaking cockpit and walking on the arm. Right? I like that whole concept. I don't compare it. So you're not going to get this out of this podcast. That's not something I'm going to do. So when I look at this, it looks sexy. It looks really good. The video, the behind the ships video, and the Inside StarCitizen that kind of shows it and references it. This is a great, great looking ship. And it is the Naboo starfighter. It's pretty damn close to it anyways for you Star Wars fans. But let's just go through it. There's a little video to watch. There might be sound. I actually don't remember if there's sound on this or not. So if it's super loud, I apologize. But here is the video for it.
Before progress, there was classic. We say, why choose?
That HUD looks amazing.
Put legacy in motion.
Oh, you guys. Oh my gosh. And then there's this. And then there's the ventral fin. Just look at this picture. We're going to come back to it here in a second, but look at the picture. That is ridiculous, guys. What in the world does a spaceship need a ventral fin for? A ventral fin, guys, for what it's worth, it's this one down here, right? It's the phallic aspect of the ship. So usually a ventral fin is for a ship, like a boat in the water, right? Having a ventral fin gives you control, gives you direction. It's like a rudder, think of a rudder. It gives you the ability to make tight turns, but it's not needed for spaceships. There's nothing physics related to a ventral fin. So I look at this and it's very out of place. I wonder if the community yells and screams enough, would CIG defeat or delete this fin? Because I think it needs to happen. It just looks completely out of place. A very strange design choice. What are your thoughts? Seriously, what are your thoughts? But it looks good. The metallic reflecting everything around it looks awesome. The exposed engine looks great. I like the tinted, the canopy looks amazing. And it does have QD, guys. It does have quantum travel. It does have the bespoke Gatling guns that retract.
Introducing Kruger L21 Wolf. Perfection in every piece.
Yeah. So I think it looks great. Everything I just said in the video, like it looks amazing, and that's why I bought it. I like the retracting Gatling guns, but they are bespoke. I'm curious what the future, because there's a couple of ships now that have released that have this like unique tailored weapon system, right? I'm curious what this means for this. I think the Meteor also had its own kind of bespoke cannon. You can't have so many, again, bespoke meaning like dedicated to, unique of. So what's the future of that? Are they going to create multiple versions to upgrade just for a specific ship? That's not really scalable. Or maybe it is for video game. It wouldn't be in my business, right? All right, let's keep on scrolling down. They're really boasting the speed and maneuverability on this. The shields, it's a light fighter, guys, so you're not going to be able to withstand a lot of damage. So where it drops in shields, it makes up for in speed and maneuverability. So that's like most, in my opinion, that's most light fighters as well. Here's your Gatling gun that again retracts into the ship itself. So when you're not in combat, everything looks sleek and smooth, looks very elegant. Kind of the RSI impact to Kruger. And then here's the cockpit. The cockpit looks amazing. In fact, I would argue that one of my selling points, the reason why I bought the game or this ship, was the design choices inside. It just looks really, really good. Here's some details on it. So 21 meters in length, 10.5 in width, 4.2 in height. Obviously, it's one crew. It's 2 size 4 retractable ballistic Gatlings, and then 8 size 1 missiles. These are the different paints available, and it's actually a lot. So factory standard, you have the Rosso, Frost, the Sylvan, Heatsink, and Riftwalker. Heatsink is what everybody gets if they pre-order. So if you pre-order a war bonded version of the ship, you will get Heatsink, and then Riftwalker. So here's the Riftsink. Looks really good. It's like a gunmetal base with red tipped wings and a yellow tipped aft or back of the ship. So I think that looks really good. And then the Concierge is Riftwalker, which is just your straight up gunmetal dark black with it looks like the gold highlights. Again, I think every Concierge ship looks so amazing, but that Riftwalker looks really good. Really good. All right, you can upgrade to it as well, but here are the prices. The standalone for the Concierge is $90. The War Bond regular is $90. And if you want to use store credit, it is $100 for its non-war bonded price. So those are your 3 prices. You can also ship upgrade to it, so that's also an option for you as well. And then you can buy the paint pack. It's the 4 for Concierge. It's 4 for $20. And then there's the non-Concierge 3 paint pack for $15.72. Then it looks like every individual paint kind of ranges between $4 and $7. So are you going to get it? Are you going to buy it? Are you like, does this fit in your fleet? Like, I'm curious. And our poll question for the Spotify portion is going to be around this as well. What's your what's your favorite thing about the new ship? Is it that it's a light fighter, speed, maneuverability, the things that they're selling? Or is it because it's aesthetically maybe something familiar to you, or it just looks good? Like, I think this angle, this top-down angle looks good, except for the ventral fin. Or is there another reason? And if there's another reason, I'd love to know why. There's also a Q&A for this as well. I'm not going to get into much of this. When I read through it, I think the biggest pieces were it is a light fighter, but it does have a quantum drive, so you're not stuck. Like, usually the Kruger line, like the P series for the Kruger line, is what kind of fits. It's the Archimedes and the Merlin. They fit inside the constellations, so they don't have quantum drives. They're snub fighters. Well, this is their first fighter that's not a snub fighter. So that's important to know, right? It does have a quantum drive. Otherwise, speed, maneuverability, like that's it. There's really not anything else that kind of stands out here. I'm trying to remember. I think this was interesting. Are there any plans to develop a similar racing-focused variant of the Wolf? And currently, no, there's not. And I actually like that. Like, not every ship needs to have variations to do everything. Like, I think it's perfectly fine. Does it look like a racer? Absolutely. Like, it looks like it would go fast. But we don't need a million variations of the same ship. And I think that's kind of what they're trying to get at with the like the flight blades. Like, if you want this to go faster and maybe compete with some of the racing ships, maybe there's a flight blade that you can put on there that'll like modify the performance pieces of your ship. Maybe. Let's get into the behind the ships. We're going to watch this video, and that'll lead right into the Inside StarCitizen video for the patch watch. So a lot of reacting in the next couple of minutes. But here is like a 4 to 5 minute behind the ship for the Kruger L21 Wolf. And then we will get into the Inside StarCitizen. But stand by, because we're going to show you how to enter for your chance to win the ship right after this video. So here we go.
I would describe Kruger as beautiful, bold, and elegant, not afraid to make a statement.
Unlike Origin, Kruger ships have a certain retro feel to them, but still feel upmarket. The L21 is a light fighter designed to be fast, agile, and nimble. The trade-off is that you have to take extra care when getting into battle. You can't take the hits, you have to avoid them.
When I first saw the concept, I thought this is really amazing, and I can't wait to work on it. It looks also very challenging because of the swooping shapes and the difficult surfaces.
Instead of kind of having layered surfaces like a lot of other StarCitizen ships have, the surfaces are very clean, very smooth.
The direction for the ship was to make it sleek, aerodynamic, and aggressive.
The exterior of the ship has the silhouette of a Spitfire, but it looks a lot more resto modern and futuristic.
We definitely looked at a lot of World War II aircraft, and that's kind of where the influence came from. The tail is shorter, so it has this very aggressive, nose pointing upward stance when it's landed.
It kind of feels like an animal waiting to pounce.
And that's why she's called the Wolf.
The engine nacelles on the wings, I think, create a very nice silhouette, especially from the top. I'm also very, very happy with the form language that we managed to do on it. We decided to expose a lot of greebling. We decided to expose a lot of the engine itself.
It's primarily pipes. The heat travels down it, and it really promotes how strong that the ship actually is. It highlights the grace of the ship.
The vehicle has two size-4 Gatlins that can gimbal 5 degrees in all directions. You have 4 missiles in the left wing, and you have 4 missiles in the right wing.
I'm very happy with the deploy animation of the weapons. That's something that not really any other ship does to this extent, where we have the weapons completely hidden in the fuselage, which creates a very, very smooth package.
The cockpit's a really comfy place to be. As you'll see when you look out from the ship, you have great visibility from the left, the right, and ahead of you.
I just love the cockpit. It just looks so slick. The dash is such a strong shape. I've not seen the shape before in any of the other ships.
You'll notice in between your legs a brand new clock, which I believe is the first that we've implemented in a vehicle.
Are you happy with the clock?
Yeah, the clock looks great. It looks like a Swiss timepiece that's in between your legs, just so you can keep track of server time.
So you can keep track of server time. That's interesting. I've never really cared or had a reason to know what the server time is, but that's interesting. I wonder what direction, like, will we start seeing clocks and server times in public areas, like in Orison or Seraphim Station? Like, how important is the server time really going to be? Or is it just simply aesthetic and not really important? I think that's interesting. Very interesting.
You have to stop saying in between your legs.
Oh yeah, the fin. The fin was an idea I kind of had when I noticed from certain angles, especially the nose, kind of had some shapes reminiscent of a boat. So I was kind of thinking it might be interesting to add something like a keel, also just to make the silhouette a bit more interesting, especially when looked at from the side. And it's also, once again, something that I don't really think any other ship at this point has, and it just adds to there being a transition from landed mode to flight mode.
This vehicle is for somebody who wants a nice, sleek, elegant design.
People who are into sports cars, I hope they will appreciate the surfacing on the ship. I hope people who like retro sci-fi will appreciate the big engine nacelles on the wingtips. I hope everyone likes it.
It's very unique. There's currently no other ship that looks like it.
Is it your favorite ship you've worked on so far?
Yes, it's my favorite ship. I love the ship. It gave me a lot of headache, but...
I think the team that I worked with was really cool, and I think the ship turned out really epic, and I think you should fly it.
That stupid ventral fin. Otherwise, otherwise looks amazing. Like, honestly, good work. Congratulations to the team that made this possible. It does look good. One of the reasons why I love the Mercury Star Runner is because of that exposed engine that's in the back. It makes it feel like you're flying, a hot rod. So that reference that you heard a couple minutes ago of the exposed piping and it making it look retro, like retro spacecraft. You get a little bit of that. Like, you take one of the old school 57 Chevys or like the 5060s of the Mustangs. This is kind of what this feels like. Maybe the chrome, the shiny chrome, like, it makes you feel like you're in that Shelby Cobra of 1960s, right? 1950s. So yeah, again, extremely well done. I got one. I do very little light fighter flying. But when I do, I enjoy the heck out of flying an Arrow or a Gladius. So I think throw this into the mix. It's a great alternative. It's a great option. So if you are interested in applying or entering into our contest, which is funny because I didn't have this up already. So there's my loud ass typing. If you go to beyondtheversehq.com, where you can find literally everything about our show and Soul Provision as an organization, we have an announcement bar right here that says giveaway, Kruger L21 Wolf, lifetime insurance. Go ahead and click here. That's one way to do it. The other way to do it is going to podcast and going down to the word giveaway. Either one will take you to where you need to go. So here's the supply crate is what I creatively call it. But the current giveaway, Kruger L21 Wolf, cute little video here. The engagement question as we relate this ship to others outside of StarCitizen, like Star Wars Naboo Fighter. What IP, what intellectual property has the best ships and why? Is it Star Wars? Is it Star Trek? I want to know which IP, which space-themed IP has the best spaceships. But you're going to fill out this form. You're going to answer that question down here with the engagement question. Guys, that's the one thing I've asked you to do. I don't care about the likes and the forwards and reposts, and I've never been about that, never will be about that. But I would love the engagement. Like, again, I care about community engagement. I want to know your thoughts and feelings. So please respond to that, click enter giveaway, and then on next week's episode, we will get into, or we will announce the winner like we normally do. Okay, the patch report. Guys, I've debated how I wanted to do this. The first half of this is Jared going through 4.2.1 and kind of explaining like what has happened, and I'll probably still end up playing it for y'all to hear and for y'all to listen to, but it's too late. And I don't mean that as like a shame on CIG or shame on Jared, but like, where was this weeks ago? I think that is one challenge, like, and that's the critique I will continue to have of CIG as a loving podcaster who loves the project, who errs on the side of positivity. One of the constant critiques I have of CIG is, why would you not get out in front of the narrative? Why would you not control the narrative? Like, the moment you found out that there was a game-breaking issue with elevators and letting the community fester, letting them just think everything is broken and there must be something on fundamentally wrong with, persistent entity streaming, or blaming one of the tech pillars, like incorrectly blaming one of the tech, like you get all this festering and all this hate that's generated on the back end. I feel like CIG continues to miss the opportunity to control the narrative. Hey guys, we recognize that shit is really bad right now. Here's why. We're currently working on it. But like, I don't know, something as simple as stating that the sky is blue and grass is usually green, like the obvious, but sometimes just getting out in front and saying, hey, here's what's jacked up with it. We know, and we apologize, for this being the experience when thousands of people try to access ground freight elevators. But instead they let weeks and weeks and weeks go by, letting some content creator doing this for likes and attention creates their own narrative and creates this movement of hatred towards, the game. And they just let that happen. So it's a missed opportunity in my mind. And nothing against Jared, nothing against anybody in particular. I appreciate Jared coming out and spending the first half talking about this, but damage is already done. You've got people that are making their living off of clickbait that is incorrectly analyzing the game. Let's just get into the video. Here are Jared's words.
You're here. I'm here. We got one take. Let's talk about the elevator in the room. Now, up until this point, freight elevators were mostly used in single-player, short-term environments like personal hangars. There would usually only be one user, and on the back end it would be stowed when you left and a fresh new freight elevator presented every single time you went back in. Now, while certainly not perfect, these tended to operate better than the ones out in the wilderness at, say, outposts, which, like many other things in the verse, tended to compound their issues over time the longer they were left to run. Now, of all the known issues with all the freight elevators in the game, most tend to revolve around simple things like, it just doesn't work, and bigger problems like, all my items have vanished and they're now lost forever, which itself can often tie into other issues with things like long-term persistence, which we're gonna have an SCL on with Benoit soon to discuss some new developments there, so if it's okay with you, we're gonna stick to freight elevators for the time being. Now at this point, I'm not really telling you anything that most active players don't already know, but it's important to note that these issues have been egregious enough that we'd already started a directed repair initiative months ago. It's just not completed yet. Obviously. Maybe super obviously. As with transit, when working these issues, we try really hard to avoid what are known as hack fixes and focus instead on trying to uncover what is ultimately the root cause that will create all this instability underneath. And that process can often seem like absolutely nothing is happening for days or even weeks at a time. So last month.
Which is fine, but tell us that. I don't want to beat a dead horse, but tell us that. Like, hey guys, here's what we're working on. Like, respect the community enough that have been following for over a decade to know what you're talking about. You can't be too technical. Some of us, I will actually include myself, some of us have done hours and hours and hours of deep dives into the tech. So if you spent the time to say, hey, this piece is what's driving, the issues, even like make it your own, make it like a service account, like a StarCitizen tech account on Twitter, and have people follow it and just throw that stuff out there. You'll be surprised. Like, I think Elder Scrolls Online or Bethesda, ZeniMax does a really good job of doing that, of like just maybe giving us too much information, but at least it's there. And so if I was pissed off and I wanted to do my own, like, what in the world is going on segment of my podcast, there would be a good place for me to go to and say, hey guys, calm down, right? According to this, piece of the tech, and then let somebody like Space Tomato or myself translate that into something that's consumable to listeners and viewers. Like, give us more. Instead of like, you're not wrong, Jared. You're not. But this like waiting to tell us or waiting to understand what the underlying issue is, that's great. But take us along that journey. Like, help us understand so that we can shut up some of the clickbait and bullshit that we see from all the other crying content creators that are out there.
What happened with Race for Stanton? Well, sometimes changing how we use old features can be just as painful as adding a bunch of new ones. With a higher concurrency in daily active users than any patch this year, large numbers of players were driven from their private freight elevators and their personal hangars to the more troublesome ones out in the PU. Statistically rare states became common, and less common issues became fertilized and grew into bigger, unavoidable ones. Although in many cases, this still took hundreds or even thousands of players using each freight elevator to manifest a single issue. Now, like with transit before it, or the infamous 30K issues of old, who remembers those? The issues you encounter in the PU are not always due to one or two bugs, but often dozens and dozens of underlying conditions beneath and around it, which throwing thousands and thousands of players at have helped us address more successfully than ever before. And since the release of Alpha 4.2.1 and up until the recording of this video, we've identified the root causes of 44 individual freight elevator issues, with 20 of them being classified as blockers or critical, and almost all of them with causes only revealed by running thousands of people into them over and over and over again throughout this event. Now, in a phrase that should be very familiar to our software engineer enthusiasts out there, as we work to fix each issue we encountered, the resolution would often reveal another lying in wait underneath. But this is a good thing, yeah? We did all this intentionally to force progress so we can finally fix freight elevators like we did 30K and are still doing with transit? No. Now, while the project will definitely benefit from what happened long-term with all the fixes and hardening that's been going in and that will continue to go in throughout Alpha 4.3 and beyond, the answer to what really happened isn't particularly exciting or salacious or any different than what I imagine most of you already suspected. We knew there'd be issues like there have been, but we underestimated how they'd compound on top of one another at higher stresses. It's been a sometimes frustrating process for everyone on both sides of the project. But at the same time,
may I just say that no matter what level of frustration that you might have, I guarantee you no one is as frustrated as those working on the game. I promise you that. If you go through, and I remind myself this all the time, if you log into the game and something bad happens and you're like, oh, I'm frustrated, let me go play Metal Gear Solid 5. They don't have a let me go play Metal Gear Solid 5. This is their livelihood, right? Like you can imagine the anxiety, the stress, but the frustration there as well. Like you think you have something and then it just kind of falls apart. Like no one is as worked up on at this than those working on the game. I promise you that.
We're super proud of the content and cadence we've achieved this year, and of the strides all of our teams are making to make this the most compelling year of StarCitizen gameplay yet. For every single step backwards, I truly believe we're taking multiple strides forward, and the overall improvements to the experience along the way are what keep many of us motivated to continue going month after month. And with this new Onyx Facilities content drop being spread out over multiple releases, we're going to continue taking the time to improve existing experiences along the way. And to that end, as some of you probably have already heard, it was in the loading screen and whatnot, we're also going to go ahead and extend the Race for Stanton missions while we continue to work on freight elevators throughout Alpha 4.3. It'll mean another month for folks to try to dethrone Hurston from the lead they hit so very early, for you to earn any of the individual rewards that are still outstanding, and for us to continue beating on freight elevators about the head and neck with the proverbial pipe along the way. And all while you continue your exploration of ASD's latest malpractices. And speaking of which, we've also made the decision to keep relatively quiet on Onyx Facilities and ISC and beyond. We do this to better let you investigate and discover things for yourself. But that doesn't mean there isn't more that August has to offer. So let's go ahead and use our remaining time this week to explore the other aspects of this new release in Patch Report Alpha 4.3. For several years now, we've had these ground storms with rain and snow and whatnot, and those are sticking around for a while yet. But in Alpha 4.2, we continued to get our feet wet with the first iteration of dynamic rain. And now, 2 months later in this release, we're continuing our climate campaign with the nascent version of dynamic snow, which leverages the same system to sleet the skies wherever the surrounding situation is sound. Sorry. It's a small thing to let us avoid rain falling on snowy areas, but these incipient iterations will continue to develop both in gameplay and in its sights and sounds over subsequent releases. And meanwhile, in things you can wear and hold, almost every patch this year has had a new armor and weapon to discover. And in August, you'll find the new Specialist Light Stealth Armor. There are a few different variations floating around, including a neat ASD one, and this one from Wicklow. It's an interesting visor, but it does beg the question, with the blast shield down, how can I even see? How am I supposed to fight? To which the answer is, I probably shouldn't quote Star Wars, because Disney has lawyers. We've also got a new Volt weapon this month called the Zenith Sniper Rifle that, and let me read this text I have on the screen here from Zach, combines the raw punch of a charged sniper shot with the rapid-fire precision of a marksman rifle, which doesn't sound OP as heck at all, Zach. Now, there are some notes here about how loud it'll be and how important managing heat is, because if you don't, it becomes essentially inoperable, like me. And it's the latest in this year's line of Volt weapons, and like all the others before it, you can be the judge if its advantages are worth the trade-offs. Also, hangar respawning returns. Now, it's a small thing, but the ability to spawn directly into your personal hangar and get back into the fray should be a welcome one for anyone that's played the game for a while. Personal hangars are slowly becoming our first true homes in the verse, and this is yet another step in the right direction. Also another step in the right direction, spawning ground vehicles from the freight elevators, which is not coming in Alpha 4.3, but I've got a platform and I'm going to use it to say everybody wants it, Benoit, and we're going to find time to prioritize it for the schedule. after more fixes in the next couple months first. Let's move on to virtual currencies. Now this year we introduced Wicklow, the collector, and his emporium of esoteric effects. Not the actual name. And over the last couple months, we've seen vehicles new and old get added to his inventory as variants with unique paints and components. And that's great. Or at least it was once we killed the RNG thing. Yay! But what about the various ship shops in the verse? Where's my Golem, the Fortune, the Guardians? Well, in Alpha 4.3, inventories are getting updated with many of the most recent ships that have been released. What this means is, while you can still pledge for ships to support the continuing development of StarCitizen, and you can still work for those fancy component variants of many with Wicklow, you should also be able to pursue the base versions of newer vehicles for AUEC, and in a more reasonable timetable from now on. It's our way of saying, yeah, we'll be better at this going forward. It was Tyler Wicken's fault. And while we're talking about spaceships, starting back in May and continuing with each monthly patch after that, the Vehicle Experience team began the next wave of flight tuning adjustments for every ship in the verse, hitting most of the heavy and medium fighters and interceptor subclasses within. Now with Alpha 4.3, it's time for some light fighters to get their pass. This includes adjusting SCM and nav speeds to increase variation within the class, altering the linear and angular accelerations, adjusting health pools, and even swapping out some flight controller components. Now there's a whole list with details in the patch notes, but if you haven't flown your light fighter in a while, maybe give it a go this patch. And while we're talking about light fighters, what would a patch in 2025 be without brand new vehicles? And for August, we've got the long-awaited debut of the L21 Wolf. It's sleek, it's slick, it's kinda like a cool spaceship Rorschach test. See, some people see a fancy hot rod, some people see a Supermarine Spitfire, and some people like me see a Naboo Starfighter. But it's not. It's not Disney. It's the newest light fighter from Kruger Intergalactic, a brand previously known for the Merlin and Archimedes, two ships who share the same names as characters in an old animated film about King Arthur from... Now you can learn more about it in our dedicated Behind the Ships episode, also available on YouTube, and the L21 Wolf will be flyable as soon as Alpha 4.3 releases. And lastly, let's go ahead and touch on this month's big content drop, the new Onyx facilities. Now this is a big swing from our environment, level design, mission, sound, and every other team that's worked on them. And that's why I'm not going to say a whole lot. Everyone here really wants you to just get in there and experience them for yourself.
Here's the missed opportunity. I mean, whatever. I mean, they tease and they go from like different scenes and different platforms of the Onyx facility, but man, like I just, again, there was an opportunity here that I think they could have gone even deeper, but these are worth exploring. We should all be super excited about 4.3.
And don't forget, this is our first multi-part release of the year. So we'll open up that third and final wing eventually, and you'll find out what Dr. Yor and ASD has really been up to. It's more than just worm torture, I can promise you that. Ultimately, this month, like this year, we'll continue to see StarCitizen pushing its development into lots of new directions. And, quite frankly, some are going to work better than others. Some are going to take us a bit to figure out. And some are going to be some of the best and most interesting content we've ever released. Align and Mine, Stormbreaker, Onyx facilities. I just want to shout out all the work everyone on Dev is doing to keep this year interesting and to continue improving the existing gameplay systems along the way. And then, of course, the continued engagement with the project from you, who are coming back month after month in record numbers to see where we're going next. And finally, if you are wondering why I'm at my desk, where I spend most of my day doing my other job behind the scenes that has little to do with ISC or SCL, there's this little thing called CitizenCon Direct coming up on October 11th, and the spaceship is currently locked down for the next 8 weeks filming for that. So be sure you check out the latest post on the Bar Citizen Global Watch Parties to find out where you can join our staff to watch it as it unfolds. For Inside StarCitizen, I'm Jared Huckabee. Thanks for listening to me yak about freight elevators for 5 minutes, and I was gonna do a joke here at the end where I pretend to push a button and the elevator takes me down beneath my desk, but considering the work that we still have ahead of us in fixing them proper, it would probably go a little something like this. I'll just say we know what's left to do and we're on it. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.
Alrighty. So there you have it. Again, thanks, Jared. Thank you for taking time to go through 421. And there's enough teasers for 4.3. By the time that you listen to this, we will more than likely have more of an idea of when 4.3 is coming out. Maybe by the time you listen to this, 4.3 is already out, and you've already gone through some of the ASD Onyx sites. So we do the best we can, guys. We do the best we can. I hope this podcast finds you well, again, in whatever state of listening, that you're in. I've had a lot of friends reach out to me and say, look, I've taken a break from StarCitizen, but I'm staying engaged by listening to your podcast. And if that is the least that I am doing, I'm actually happy with that. So take your break, go play all these amazing other games that are releasing, that have released, go enjoy life. Come back, dabble a little bit when 4.3, drops, and then go back to that other game. But stay tuned to Beyond the Verse podcast. We will keep you updated week over week on news, analysis, everything I say in my intro. I will continue to bring this to you to consume and for you to make that judgment when coming back is the right time for you. I myself am extremely looking forward to 4.3. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to give us something else to do and explore while we continue to hack away at this Race for Stanton event. But as we progress towards better freight elevators, every problem is only going to drive to more solutions. So as we look towards next year's Squadron 42 and the future of StarCitizen 1.0 dropping, we needed to uncover these barriers to expedite when we can release the game. That's how I'm viewing it anyways. All right. If you want to become part of the conversation, you can do so by responding to our polls and our comments on Spotify. Make sure you do that. Leave a comment in YouTube and I'll respond to that in YouTube, like in the comment section. But you can find everything you want and need to know about our podcast and Soul Provision, our in-game organization, at beyondtheversehq.com or soulprovision.com. Don't forget to enter for your chance to win the new Kruger L21 Wolf. We are continuing with our philanthropy. We're raising money to provide for Extra Life for children's hospitals around the United States. We're at like 1,400, 1,500 now. So we're still making progress towards a goal. So thank you for that. I think that's it. Join our in-game organization, guys. We're continuing to grow and we're doing some really awesome things outside of just your typical game loops. So we would love to see you there. Everybody, safe travels as you traverse beyond the verse. Take care.